Welcome to the Claw-State Pod. This week, we're going over where we were wrong last season, talking about some transfer portal news, and talking about the new format for the playoff. Enjoy. Why does everyone in the Big Ten become Iowa?
Everything evolves to eventually become a crab.
Ryan Date wanted the crab fight.
This team has two claws and it wants to snip at you.
He will play like the crab if he feels threatened.
We're back. This is the, fourth off-season pod so far? Third? Fourth?
Sure,
Like
whatever.
Don't worry, it's a new season. It's the new season. It's the first episode of the second season.
Yeah. Well, it'll be in the new YouTube playlist, in the different one. I wanted to kind of take a step back. This is the reflection pod. We're going to talk about... I feel like this shouldn't be part of the new season because we're going to be reflecting on everything that we were wrong about last season, which I admit when I go on my turn will be... You guys should call me out because I'm definitely forgetting some stuff on my misses. But I want to go around, talk about what we were totally wrong about, and talk about what we wished had happened last season. Like one game result we could have flipped.
I got one.
Because I've got some opinions there. Josh, you wanna just kick it off? You wanna start with your misses, and then we'll go to your wishes.
My biggest miss of last season, and the words really haunt me, and I worry that my prediction is now clouded by that miss, is that after the Oklahoma State-Utah game, one of the first games that actually counted in the Big 12 season, I said, wow, there will be a competitive Big 12, and then there will be Utah. And in a sense, I was right.
Wow, you're using your misses segment to try and get a technicality. We're actually right about your miss. I don't like this.
Can I say also, John, did you think, because I remember that game, I also thought was like a huge deal at the time. I had that on my list of Utah, Oklahoma State, because Utah had that new QB playing, and I thought it was like the battle for the Big 12, and they both sucked so hard.
And for Cam Rising, that saga, thankfully, mercifully ending. This was just the beginning, where it's like, wow, they got through one of their toughest games early in the season, and Cam Rising's just on the way back. They got Arizona State on the schedule. They're gonna right the ship.
Little did we know.
Oh man. So I think the big thing is that ties to my prediction now, where I do think Utah's got just as good of a chance of winning the Big 12 as anybody. I think all of us have some, like, I'm sorry, we were wrong about the Big 12. It totally inverted. They don't even do a preseason media poll at the, at the conference now. They stopped doing it just to say, like, we don't fucking know. And I think I really respect that move. Like, congratulations to Arizona State. I congratulated them on Twitter myself. I'm like, you guys came in and broke the poll. Like, this thing has been long-standing. Iowa State did the same thing when they beat Oklahoma State in 2011, broke the BCF. So welcome to the club.
Okay, and your wish. What was one result you wish you could have flipped last season?
Speaking of Iowa State and Arizona State, God fucking damn it, the fucking championship. But I'll leave that alone. I would say the game against Texas Tech, it would have been nice to have an undefeated home season in Jack Trice. And that game really knocked off a lot of the rankings. And because the conference was so top heavy, there were 4 teams in contention for the last 2 championship game spots in the Big 12. I think Iowa State just being like, all right, we're number 1. We only have one weird loss to Kansas. I feel like that could have, by some weird math I haven't checked, have ended up with a different Big 12 championship game. And who wouldn't have loved to see that?
John, what was your biggest miss?
Biggest miss, easily. I was positive that Dave Aranda was going to get fired by week 5. I was so sure of it going into the season. And I like Dave Aranda. I wanted Auburn to hire him after we fired Harsin, but Baylor's got that Christian money.
Yeah.
But
off the record, Christian money.
Yeah. It was like he had the awesome first year or two, and then it just felt like it was going down the shitter. I believe they lost two or three early games that you were kind of like, oh, this could get ugly, but nope, they just immediately rip off a win streak, and Dave Aranda looks pretty safe now. But yeah, no, I was positive he was going to get fired.
Yeah, Dave Aranda is like an NBA player in a contract year where he gets really in shape and plays super well. I'm kind of amazed that he hung on as long as he. I mean, do you think he'll make it past another year or two?
I
I
kind
would
of
say
think
so.
so. I feel like the storm has been weathered. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know much about the recruiting, admittedly, right now,
I
but
believe
Baylor
they've got a
finds a way.
quarterback. Yeah, not a recruit quarterback, but I think I can't remember if it's the same guy that like played the end of the year last year. I think it is.
Sawyer
But
Robertson, I was just looking him up. He kind of popped off last year, and that was part of their resurgence. They beat the mighty Kansas Jayhawks in the last week of the season, and all the KU fans saw it coming. They were saying that in Kansas City when I was there. It's like, oh man, what if we did this, and then lost that? I'm like, eh. So
and the beautiful part about 2025 Baylor is that the first game of the season, the Friday before week one kicks off, they get to play Auburn.
I
what fun!
I think Auburn will
Sure,
probably win because they play in the SEC and therefore superior.
that's
In every
correct.
single way.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
And
You-
they will win every single time.
Okay, and it was there a result that you wish you could have flipped last season?
I'll kind of tie it into another miss. I was early on the Kevin Jennings hype at SMU. I want to pat myself on the
Yes.
back a little bit for
Mhm.
that. But also, I think I was also high on him going to the playoff game. And I think he had like three or four picks in that game against Penn State. So I will flip that game to confirm my bias that Kevin Jennings is awesome. He throws like five touchdowns in my mind palace version of that game and beats Penn State, and SMU makes a run in the playoff. I'll either do that one or the Texas Arizona State playoff game. Just I wanted it to be
Oh,
less
mm.
chalky in the playoff. Like I know the top four seeds all lost, but like it just felt like the big brands were winning, and I don't like that. I wanted some of the little guys to get a dub in the playoff. I can't pick an Auburn game because there's like seven games that were disgusting losses. I can't pick maybe Vanderbilt. I mean, I don't know.
No, no, I picked the Oklahoma one.
Yeah, that one
If
sucked.
anything, because then it would mean Alabama would have lost to an even worse Oklahoma team, and we never would have heard the phrase Sooner Magic
Well,
otherwise.
the Sooner Magic was barely even Sooner Magic. It was Peyton Thorne sucking dick and throwing a pick six at the end of the game.
Sooner Magic.
Yeah.
I will say about the Kevin Jennings thing, you were super early on that, and so you put me onto it. And I live in New York, so there are a lot of Penn State fans like in this city, like a lot more than you would think. And I remember talking before the Penn State SMU game at a bar with some random guy who was a Penn State fan, and I said, I don't know, man, like SMU can cook. They're like pretty good. Their quarterback's super good. I said that, and then he fucking sucked so hard. And you know what? He was pretty good.
He was really good in the regular season.
They played bad. Well, the ACC championship they blew,
Yeah.
realistically, but he played so bad in that Penn State game. Like I don't even think that's an accurate representation of his his
Yeah.
his ability to play. But yeah, I don't know. That's fair. I
Yeah.
my wish is the Texas Arizona State game. So you and I aligned on
Nice.
that. Just because Arizona State got fucking robbed, the country got robbed. They were gonna prove that the Big 12 was legit by beating another Big 12 team essentially. I would have loved to see Scatterboo in like a national championship game get curb stomped by Ohio State, but it still would have been cool to see, you know. But okay, I had a lot of misses. I didn't realize we had to pick one, but I'll lead with the
Oh,
one.
I didn't pick one on purpose. It's because I can't remember what I said for most of last year.
Yeah, I had a few. I mean, the first one that like I deserved to be bullied a lot for because I not only was I wrong, I was like really confidently wrong, which was I just wrote Colorado in all facets. Every single facet of Colorado I was wrong about. I thought they would not win a lot of games. I thought Dion would get fired. I thought Travis Hunter didn't deserve the Heisman. I thought every single thing was right. I didn't think Travis Hunter would go in the first. What he went first overall, right? Yeah, first
I
overall.
think it was second. Cam
Oh,
Ward, I believe, went first.
oh, yes.
Because
Either
the
way,
Jags traded up for Hunter.
yes. And I on that note, I now the more I've seen Travis Hunter's cute smile, I now like him more. I like him a lot more. He needs to get a new girlfriend, but that's a different podcast.
Okay, all right.
Different podcast. So I was wrong about that. I was wrong about Notre Dame, entirely wrong because they beat Georgia, and I thought pretty confidently we would beat Notre Dame. Texas in every single facet. I was just like the Texas hater of all last season. I fucking hate them so much, but they were good. I have to admit it. Clemson. I also believed in Clemson in the worst season to ever believe in Clemson in because they were they were they were not a good Clemson team. They played well against Texas in the playoff, I thought. They could have won, but still.
We already apologized for that Clemson Louisville game. That one was something.
I had Utah, Oklahoma State, just that game written down because I remember talking about it like it was such a high leverage game.
We were so excited. It was like, wow, can you believe it? They outlasted with their backup quarterback.
Yeah,
How did Oklahoma State like finish off last year record wise? Were they like 4-8, maybe?
Oh, and 10 in well, 0 and
Okay.
10 in their last whatever games. I believe at 0 and 9 in conference. They were fucking terrible. I have no
Yeah.
idea what happened.
it has to be the
0-9 in
worst.
conference, 3-9. That's hilarious.
It has to be the worst Oklahoma State team I've ever seen. At worst, you think a Gundy team wins 6 games, and just makes a bowl game and sucks. But I don't know what happened. Did they fire him? Is he still their
No,
coach?
he's still there.
Mhm.
He took a I think like 50% pay cut to and like donated it to NIL or something, like their collective. I know that they did like the we're not firing you, but
Okay, I can respect that. If you suck and then take a pay cut, I can respect that
yeah.
as a leader. Um, yeah, yeah. Either way, and then I'll say a different wish because we talked about Arizona State, Texas, which was fucking Alabama, Georgia, not having my quarterback throw 5 fucking interceptions in the game and sucking, and then coming
That's a $4
back.
million dollar man right there.
Yeah. Hey, God, I hope he does well in Miami. I hope he gets drafted. He's not on my team anymore, he's not in my conference, so I no longer am rooting against him. Yeah, if we could have just beaten Alabama one fucking time in my life, it would have been nice. But yes, those were my misses and those were my wishes. Oh,
Who's
okay.
Georgia's quarterback going to be this year? Is it the guy who played that like one snap after what's his face got concussed?
No, it's gonna be Gunnar Stockton.
Okay, Gunnar Stockton. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I thought.
yeah, we're gonna have a simpleton as our QB, which is we always
That's perfect
thrive.
for Kirby, bro.
Yeah, we always thrive with a quarterback who's from a town of 2,000 people who just lives to play Georgia football and fish. And that is, we
And
can't
I'm
have,
all
Which,
out of crawfish.
speaking of a simpleton quarterback, pretty cool that Stetson Bennett did not get a degree for being in college for like 6 or 7 years.
wait, did he
I
really
res
not?
No, that came out like a month ago-ish, I think. It was like, yeah, Stetson Bennett hasn't graduated from anywhere.
How is that even, was he taking like literally 6 credits every
He
time just to,
probably, dude. It's
There's
the
some rules
simpleton
about
mind.
advancement towards a degree, so how he was able to keep that going, but then not finish any program is strange, especially considering how many years he was there. Then you add the COVID year, and it's like, all right, what's
he
happening
also,
here?
he also went to like a community college and then came back. So like he had a long journey. He wasn't even on the roster the whole time.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'm so
impressive.
glad the COVID seniors are gone. That's all I'll say. I'm
Yeah.
completely over grown men playing.
They're still here.
I think
Who?
there's like one or two remaining,
If you,
or
it's to
or
the
like a
point.
handful.
Yeah, if you've got like weird injury years, then you might have been okay. Iowa State has one guy, Daniel Jackson, who has been injured in pretty much every season. He had 2023, actually the game you were there for. He scored in that game, and then he's been hurt pretty much since. But now it's him and a bunch of young guys.
So this has to be the last year then, right? That it's possible.
I
I mean,
think.
like Josh said, there's going to be like some weird exceptions where people who have a regular redshirt year, a medical redshirt year or two, because if I'm doing my math right, 2020 you could have been a freshman, and then 21, 22, 23, 24 are your four, non-redshirt years, and then a COVID year on top. I don't know. There's going to be a few left for probably this year, next year, but it's going to be nowhere near the epidemic that it was, or the pandemic, if you will. God, I'm so fucking smart.
I can't turn 30 years old and have there be COVID seniors. Like I just need to have that not it needs to be wrapped up by then.
Well, we can talk about settlement stuff if you want, but I think eligibility is the next thing that they're going to be looking at.
I'm
Okay,
sure.
we'll get to that. Well, I wanted to take us to old faces, new places, this transfer portal stuff.
So there are some names that we talked about last year that we had a lot of fun with. A lot of them are quarterbacks, so just, calm down, listener. Uh, but there are guys that are like, oh yeah, what are you doing here? We mentioned Miller Moss, the USC quarterback who's now at Louisville, and it just made me think, I'm like, all right, the new video game's coming out. If you're like picking up a team and you just want to like look through the roster and play a game with them, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's actually really good, and he's also 86 overall and dealing in the game. Let's see who's where. I'll give you, I guess, a guess to see where guys went, but this one is probably my favorite. Uh, Matt Sluka, the UNLV quarterback, who left midseason after their big win over Kansas because they allegedly weren't getting the money he was promised back to him. So he held out middle of the season. One of the first of a handful of guys to like start doing that.
Oh, okay.
Just take a guess.
Is it like North Dakota State or something?
Wake
No,
Forest.
he's still D1.
I'm guessing low end Power Five. Wake Forest feels like. I
Wait,
don't
let
know.
me do one more guess. What conference? Can you give us a conference?
They're a conference that played against the ACC, a team that had a
Ah,
very notable win against an ACC team.
Wait. Oh, fuck.
I have no idea.
They played against the ACC.
Are we
Is it
counting Notre Dame as an ACC school for the purposes of this exercise?
No, no.
Okay,
okay?
because
Is it
Northern
like
Illinois would be funny.
okay? I'm gonna say like TCU.
He's the quarterback of JMU.
Oh,
Oh,
nice. That's a good spot. Good
So
spot for
oh,
the kid.
notable win, right? I forgot about that. UNC lost that fucking game.
70 points.
Okay. Okay. Hey, JMU has a weird, good fans. I lived by some JMU fans when I lived in Virginia.
So now we've got Matt Sluka in apparently one of the hottest offenses in college football. I'm really excited to see how that goes. I haven't looked at their schedule, but if they have another game against a team in a Power Five conference, I will be tuned in because I'm very excited to see what they do next. What if I mean, I haven't looked at anyone's schedule, but what if UNC goes on the road to JMU? They're doing it home and home. Bill Belichick versus Matt Sluka. Please. I haven't looked, but I hope it exists.
Bill Belichick versus Matt Sluka is a sentence that has never been uttered on this planet before.
Number 2, Texas A&M quarterback Connor Wegman.
Upgrade, downgrade, lateral. What would you say? Transfer.
If you ask the SEC commissioner, he'll say it's definitely a downgrade.
Okay. So he left the conference. I feel like I remember seeing this somewhere. Did he go to like Minnesota or something? No.
No, a little closer to home.
Hmm.
Uh,
Are we talking
Texas
like
Tech?
Oklahoma State?
Even closer than that. What? Not Texas Tech, but Houston.
TCU, Houston.
Oh,
Wow.
I got a question about Wegman. Do any of you think he's good? Because randomly, some people will think he's good or like really talented or something, and I've never once witnessed that in this guy.
I don't know, man. All I know about him is on a college game day last year, he had a hell of a black scent.
Oh man, Connor Wegman, white boy with a little bit of swagger, is down in Houston. One of the best places for him to be.
Houston can cook.
Willie Fritz and them had a really solid defense. They pulled off that crazy win against Kansas State last year, and I am not sure exactly how good Houston's going to be, but I know they're like in the mix along with everyone else. And with a second year head coach, it could be totally time and everything's perfect, or it could be another stepping stone year where they just improve their record and they ended last year strong and have a better quarterback than they did the year previous. So maybe they were hanging
Better,
with people.
better
They hung with
quarterback.
BYU in the final year, in the final week. They hung with Kansas State, and the game against Iowa State fell out of hand near the end, but that was like 10-0 before it got to 20.
Better quarterback this year.
Having a quarterback is an
Fine.
improvement.
Wasn't he like a 5-star?
Yeah, he was at
very
Texas
highly-
A&M, so probably.
Yeah, he probably made $20 million.
Third guy, I didn't add this one, but Zach Calzada.
Zach Calzada. I've got my finger on the pulse of former Auburn guys, of course. He was at A&M. His freshman year was 2019. So
Holy
this is
shit.
another one of these old ass guys. I believe in 2020 or 21, when A&M upset Alabama, Calzada was the quarterback for that game.
Yeah, I do
Uh,
remember that.
he went to Auburn in like 22 and had to get Tommy John before the season, so he never played for Auburn. But
Medical red shirt.
medical red shirt, love to see it. And then he went to Incarnate Word for a couple of years and apparently lit up the FCS, played really well. But he is back in major college football. Any
Oh.
guesses on where this guy is going to be starting quarterback this year?
Okay, what's the conference? I need conference just to
He is
like guess.
back in the SEC. He's going to be playing for his third SEC team.
Okay,
That's
wait.
really hard to do now.
Wait, it's got to be like Arkansas or Mississippi State, maybe?
You're in the right tier.
Okay, it's not Vanderbilt
It's not
because
Vanderbilt.
they have power. Yeah,
Diego's talking big shit in Vanderbilt.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wait, oh, dude, I feel like I can guess this. Who are you? Arkansas, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. What are the other bad teams in the SEC consistently?
Is he going to play there, but not going to be very good, but going to be with a really good coach? Well, no, you said he's not. Mississippi State's not in the right tier, you say, but I could imagine a guy going to a place being like, I'm not going to fucking play football, but I'm going to get in with the hottest coach I can attach myself to.
Missouri?
That
Nope.
sounds good to me.
He is
Oh.
not at Missouri.
Not Oklahoma, right?
Not Oklahoma, no.
Kentucky.
Kentucky, got it.
Okay, Kentucky.
It's the
All right.
presumptive starter at Kentucky this year to, I guess, try and save Mark Stoops' job or whatever.
That's actually
Oh.
that's a good place to be a mid quarterback.
I think so, yeah. I think it's a good spot.
They'll probably win some games if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Um,
schedule looks like, but
Brock Vandergrift still there?
I think
I don't
they're
think
over
so.
him
I
either
think
way.
they're past him, yeah. One other quick one I want to hit, Group of Five riser guy, Darian Mensah, really good at Tulane last year, headed to Duke. I think that could be a sneaky decent team this year.
Duke won like 8 games last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're
Now they've got
actually
a better
good.
quarterback.
Better
Yeah.
than Malik Murphy.
That's actually a good point. I don't know who's gonna. Maybe Darian Mensah's at Wake Forest. Maybe that's why I have Wake Forest. All these nerd schools in the ACC, they kind of fucking merge together.
These stupid schools that focus on education.
Yeah.
Dude, the transfer portal's made it too complicated. I'm like an old man now. I just start week one. I see where they are week one when the season starts. I don't even know who's on Georgia most of the time until the season starts and I
Oh,
start
how
watching.
fucking privileged.
Same thing for Iowa State. I'm watching. I don't know anybody. I discover as the season progresses.
Iowa State didn't know who their starter was going to be in 2023. I was so panicked every day. I'm like, who is it?
Yeah.
Who will succeed
Hmm.
Brock?
The Chad non-off-season follower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next
Um,
up, you might have heard this one, but I don't know if we talked about it. Devin Dampier.
the name
He
rings a
was the
bell.
Nevada quarterback. Very fast. He was running wild in the Mountain West
That guy
with
was fun in college
Eli
football
Sanders.
25.
Mm.
Okay.
I have
What
no idea where he
conference?
is.
Yeah, what conference?
He is on a team we talked about today
Hmm.
extensively.
Fuck, my memory's so bad. What are we talking about? Utah?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, there we go. Does he have a functioning body?
Yes.
Then it is an upgrade.
The thing with Utah, I have thought of a profile to generate a Big 12 winner. Because the conference is not stacked with, five-star talent top to bottom. There are like a handful of teams that have more than others. Whatever. The difference between them are so marginal, which is why it's so hard to predict. I think statistically, by week whatever, you'll be able to know who has a top 5 unit on offense, defense, special teams, a top 10 unit, and one that's in the top 15. You need all three. You can have a glaring weakness, but it can't be the worst in the conference anywhere. Utah had a really good defense last year, and they were on the field a ton. Their special teams has always been good historically, and their offense totally fell off a cliff. They were like 14th or something out of 16. It was not great. If they can change literally nothing else but their offense, they will be good enough to compete for a Big 12 title. And they were so injured last year, and they had such terrible luck. They were in games against BYU. They were in games against Iowa State. They played some of the top competition. They played a good half against Colorado, but I don't know if I even want to count that. But I feel like with a quarterback that will help them just extend drives, kill the clock, and play good defense like they always have, I think they're really set up, and Devin Dampier will be leading this.
You've sold me.
We will hold you to that in the eventual actual predictions later in this.
Yeah, I think because they were so terrible and hurt last year, I feel like I wasn't wrong just early, but I was dead fucking wrong. And
It took us
we'll
a
see if
while to
I'm
come to
dead
terms.
fucking wrong again.
It took us a while to come to terms with the state of Utah last year. At least it took me a while. Who is Alberto Mendoza?
Former Cal quarterback.
I don't think that's his name. I believe
Wait,
it's
what?
Fernando Mendoza.
You're right.
Get fucked. Leave it in. Leave it in.
No, no, no.
I mean,
Okay.
I only know that because I got to watch him beat Auburn.
Well, Mr. Fernando Mendoza expert, where's he playing now?
I do know. Oh, fuck. I feel like I remember this. It's definitely Power Five, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it SEC?
No,
Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I have no idea.
he's a Hoosier.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Was he
Nice.
good? Was he good at
He was
Cal?
he was pretty solid.
It was kind of weird. I don't know if their offense was particularly good at Cal. They had all their running backs leave.
Hey, they
But
scored 17 whole points against Auburn.
and they were in a shootout with Miami, but who wasn't?
Can I just
I
They
don't
say,
they
know if
lost. They
Mendoza's
did
actually
lose
very
to
good.
Florida State. They did lose to Florida State.
Okay, so they're dog shit. Um, no, but
Lose to Florida State and beat Auburn. I hate my life.
I really hope that for your sake that Auburn is good next year. Yeah, I hope they're better for your sake.
Me
That you
too.
don't have to go. I saw Cal beat them. That's why I know about that guy.
the last one is just more of an update. Bryce Perkins, Boston College quarterback. He's
Like,
not in college anymore, but
is he in like the UFL?
absolutely, he was
Fuck
the
yeah.
runner-up for MVP against Jordan Tamu.
Oh my
Still
God, really?
doing it.
Jordan
Yeah, Jordan.
Ta'amu's a legend, dude. He's been killing the XFL and the UFL
He
like
was
since
at
since like 2020.
he was
Like
Arizona, right?
He was at Mississippi State.
Oh, Mississippi State. He's in the UFL. He's playing well. When does the UFL season start or end, or are we in the middle of it?
it's like a week after the Super Bowls when it starts. I believe it's over. Yeah, the
Well,
DC Defenders won the chip like 3 weeks ago.
yeah, Jordan Tamu was really good all season. Caught a touchdown in the second to
Hey.
last game he played before they rested their starters in the last week. DC was very good. Jordan was a big reason why. Um, they lost their head coach in the like right before the season, and it was the Panthers against the Defenders. And Bryce Perkins led a hell of a team past the Birmingham Stallions, who had won their spring football championship 3 years prior. But that's enough spring football. It's
Well,
July.
we actually I we definitely don't need to address this, but I'm going to do it anyways. I believe in our last pod, like after the playoff, we said we were going to become big spring football guys, and I didn't do that. I don't know about you guys.
Neither
I
did I.
absolutely was, and I was devastated
There
when the
you
St.
go.
Louis Battlehawks lost again in the playoffs at home.
If it's not on the ESPN app to remind me, I cannot follow a sports league at this point. Like I don't have the memory capacity to keep up with most of these things. Uh, okay, John,
Hello.
I want to go to your corner as an update of how the SEC and the Big Ten are being evil. Has anything new progressed in their
Uh,
conquest to take over the universe?
So, okay, overall playoff format stuff, we're in a holding pattern. I believe they like hit a reset button on the negotiations or whatever because the SEC low key shanked the Big Ten in the back. They were kind of on a united front to do the bullshit where both of those leagues would get like four auto bids, but the coaches in the SEC were successfully able to promote competition and change the mind of the overall SEC. So now the SEC wants to do conference champion auto bids and then like 11 at larges, which is the format that makes sense.
I would prefer that one.
Yeah, obviously you'd like the guarantees, I guess, from a money standpoint, but the SEC and the Big Ten are going to get four teams in every year no matter what. Just the way the rankings has always worked, they're going to have four teams in the top 16 or whatever. So that's fine. It's all very stupid. The SEC wants, I believe, money guarantees still from ESPN or the playoff to do 9 games, which sucks. We need 9 conference games in the SEC. It's stupid that we don't have it. We have a
Okay, can
16
someone
team
explain to me
conference.
why do we have to have 9 games? No one's ever explained to me why it's super important.
I don't like that under the current format, it takes you, I think, 12 years to play every team in the conference home and away. And I don't like that. So that's why I want 9 games. You can cut that down to like home and away every team in 4 years if you go to 9 games. So like
Another
your
oh,
standard college career of 4 years, you would play all your conference teams home and away.
another
That is fair.
factor was it helps like inflate each team's resume a little bit. Not so much for like the winners because winners win no matter when they play or who they play because it doesn't fucking matter because you're a good team. But at the same time, if I'm like one of the teams toward the middle of the conference, I can not necessarily hide, but there's one less time where half my conference has to look worse and one less time where it has to look better. There's a chance maybe 70% of it looks better that week.
Yeah.
But we lose
That's
so
why
much.
they don't want to do 9 is because they're scared the extra loss will hurt. But it's like, I don't know, man. In the SEC, you can get the all important quality loss to any SEC team because every SEC team is better than every other team in the country.
But pre-rivalry week, we get to play a spring game that helps us tune up the rivalry week. I always
Now,
like that.
the timing on that game is an advantage, but there's nothing stopping other conferences from doing that same thing and putting one of their like FCS games in the middle of November. Like other teams could do that. It's just the fact that you're playing maybe one FCS, two, one other Power Five, and then two Group of Five games as opposed to just one. Uh, it helps with the statistical profiles that uh, people like the SEC commissioner and that they shared at their meetings earlier this year.
Can we
Uh,
talk about how
Build
embarrassing
a
that
profile that
was?
says like, oh well, our strength of schedule has consistently been among the highest. Like the 10th place SEC team has a schedule that's comparable with like the third place Big Ten schedule and so on. So we just are accounting for that by removing one game. Meanwhile, the graph that they're using uses rankings to determine where. So like whether I am 0.005% higher and my third place is 0.005% lower, I am 2 spots ahead of him, so that's significant. It's frustrating.
The like media packet they handed out to the media at SEC spring meetings, it was basically like 7 pages stapled together that's like, here's why the SEC is so much better than everyone else. And it's like, dude, give it a rest. I'm tired of hearing about it. Sure, the SEC, like the middle of the road SEC team might be better than the middle of the road Big Ten team, but who gives a fuck about that?
We're
Like,
talking
I
about the top of each conference
I
competing for a
disagree.
chance for a national championship. I don't care if sixth place doesn't get their
yeah,
spot assured. It's fine.
like you
I
know how you can
disagree.
get your spot assured if you're in that situation? Win more games. Like just win more. I hate talking about like, oh, strength of schedule this and that when you're talking about like 9-3 and 8-4 teams. I don't give a fuck. Like win your games and I'll talk about you.
That's fair, but also I think the SEC is just so much better than every other conference that that it does matter.
It is without peer, top to bottom, a
Auburn
gauntlet
could have
every
won.
single week.
Auburn would have won the Big Ten this year
Oh,
had they been in it.
oh
Vanderbilt would have won the Big
yeah.
12. They're just forced
Yeah,
to play each other.
absolutely.
I
Dude.
can't anymore. I feel like they need to be taken to like antitrust court, like with Google. Like both of them, based have to stand in front of Congress and explain their 7-page packet they made as evidence.
It's
Uh,
just sad, dude. This is like at that point in the year, I was truly questioning like, do I really love college football as much as I say I do? Because this stuff just gets so depressing. Like the championship means so much less to me. Like not that my team's ever been close. I'm just like I don't care. You're talking to me about fourth, fifth, sixth place playing for a play-in spot in a postseason, and then that spot is guaranteed every single time. Not to mention that these teams might have played each other, and then that's just the Big Ten. In the SEC, they might not even cross paths, but we need to have this game. Like I just no amount of hemming and hawing is going to make me care about Florida versus Arkansas. You can't make me.
I would love for the SEC to
I'm
come
not
out.
doing it.
I would love for the SEC to come out and reduce the number of conference
Oh,
games
yeah.
so that to account for how much better they are now that Texas and Oklahoma are in the conference that they have.
we have announced a schedule partnership with the Pac-12.
Well, every team plays each other every 30 years. Like once in a generation game. Before we go, I wanted to quiz you guys. And admittedly, now that I'm talking to you, I think you guys have better memory than me and will probably perform better on this than I did. But okay, who won the SEC last year?
This is Georgia.
Georgia.
Okay,
Come
Georgia. Good. All right. Who won the Big Ten last year?
on. Oregon.
Oregon, yeah.
Okay.
It was
Oregon.
Penn State, Oregon.
It was a good game too. Okay. Who won the Big 12?
Who can really say, honestly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. That I think it was vacated or not played or something, right?
Oh, it was
Did-
not
did
played
they
by
were-
somebody.
Was there a co-champion situation between two
Okay,
teams who
fine.
qualified for the championship game?
Cam Scatterbo in Arizona State.
Yes. Okay, and who won the ACC?
Lamson.
Clemson, we did talk about it, but
Yes. Okay. I want to admit that I
Who
could
won the
not
MAC?
remember. Yeah, I have no fucking clue.
oh my fucking god, Timothy fucking Chalamet predicted it. I was so
I respect
I think it
him.
was Toledo, right? I asked that question. I don't know the answer.
mad. No, it was Ohio.
Oh, nice.
I want to admit that I could not remember who won the Big Ten or the ACC last year. I had no fucking clue because I was like, I remember Ohio State wasn't there, but they did win the championship.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't remember who fucking won.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fans don't remember. They were very poorly attended, famously in the Big Ten. It kind of we're in a weird spot with conference championship games. Each game makes sense to play financially, but in the grand scheme of competitive sports, it means a little less.
Yeah, no, I agree. What were the first round playoff games last year?
Well, we did talk about a handful of them.
So one was SMU Penn State,
Mm-hmm.
Texas Clemson,
Clemson,
Mm-hmm.
Indiana,
Notre
Notre
Dame.
Notre Dame, and Ohio State
Tennessee.
smoked Tennessee. Yes.
Tennessee. Oh, that was a forgotten game. Ohio State, Tennessee fans talked a lot of shit before that one.
Woo! We made the playoffs.
We didn't win any of our rivalry games, but we did make the playoff because
That's
it's
not
expanded
true.
now.
That's not true. That's not true. They beat Alabama. They beat Alabama. They beat what's that fucking coach's name? The one that can't recruit the South.
Kalen DeBoer.
They beat Kalen DeBoer and apparently Nate Oates because they were shooting free throws on 4th and 1 on the third Saturday in October.
God,
They beat multi-sport athletes out there.
they beat 9-3 Alabama, which by virtue of strength of schedule really should have been in the playoff.
Alabama lost to a team that beat Alabama, so therefore they should make a playoff. I think that's a good place to call it.